Hi, my name is Iris. I hope that you are doing very well. If you are new here, welcome. This channel is all about faith-based content. So today I'm going to be reading off of Matthew 28, verses 1 through 19. And it says, "After the Sabbath at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, 'Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here, he has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you.' So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid yet filled with joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them. 'Greetings,' he said. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, 'Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me.' The guards report, while the women were on their way, some of the guards went into the city and reported to the chief priests everything that had happened. When the chief priests had met with the elders and devised a plan, they gave the soldiers a large sum of money, telling them, 'You are to say his disciples came during the night and stole him away while we were all asleep. If this report gets to the governor, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble.' So the soldiers took the money and did as they were instructed, and this story has been widely circulated among the Jews to this very day." The Great Commission. When the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go, then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, 'All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age.'" So, do not be afraid is what stood out to me the most as I was reading this, and it's on there I think about 3 times. And it all started with these 2 women who are named Mary. They go to Jesus's tomb, right? And they come face to face with an angel, and the word tells us that they were afraid. They were filled with fear. And the angel tells them, "Do not be afraid," and he also gives them some instructions, right? So even though these 2 women were filled with fear, they were still obedient to whatever was asked of them. And if we continue reading, it also says that they were filled with joy. And I believe that it was because they knew that Jesus had risen. They believed that Jesus had risen. And they also believed that they were going to be able to see him again, right? Which is exactly what happened. They got to see Jesus again. And the other thing that stood out to me as I was reading this was that even after Jesus was crucified and after he had risen, which we have to remember that he said that these things were going to happen, right? It wasn't enough for the chief priests to just want to kill Jesus, or they killed him, right? So now that they were trying to come up with another type of plan to get in the way of what he was trying to do, right? But regardless of whatever they try to come up with, that plan did not prevail. It didn't stop Jesus' resurrection. And in the same way, in life, we're going to go through things. We're going to go through tribulations that are going to try to... But as we go through these trials and tribulations, we have to remember that we are not alone, that God is with us, and that God is for us, and that God has promises for our lives, that whatever he has promised that he was going to do, or he's going to do, he is going to do it. All God is asking of us is that we just believe, and that we also be obedient to whatever it is that he's asking of us to do. And like the chief priests, whatever plan they try to come up with didn't prevail. Like whatever we go through, whatever we face that's going to try to destroy us, it's not going to prevail. We have the victory through Jesus, right? And I would like to look at a verse. It's in Isaiah 54:17. It says, "No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord." And another thing that I would like to mention is that while I was preparing this word, the Lord brought to my mind Mount Sinai, which is where God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. And I'm not going to be reading the whole thing. I'm only going to be reading, it's in Exodus 20. I'm going to be reading verses 18 through 20. And it says, "When the people saw that the thunder and lightning and heard the trumpet and saw the mountain in smoke, they trembled with fear. They stayed at a distance and said to Moses, 'Speak to us yourself, and we will listen, but do not have God speak to us, or we will die.' Moses said to the people, 'Do not be afraid. God has come to test you, so that the fear of God will be with you to keep you from sinning.'" So after these people saw what God could do, they were like terrified, right? They were filled with fear. And Moses tells them, like, hey, he explains why they shouldn't be afraid. And he clearly tells them, they're like, do not be afraid. And we are supposed to have fear for God, right? But it's not the type of fear where we're like, I can't get close to him, or I'm not holy enough, I'm not righteous enough, I can't, that means I can't even pray or get close to him. Like, that's the wrong type of fear. Or like if you're thinking of God like, oh my gosh, like I failed or I messed up, God is gonna punish me, like that's like fear. That's you being scared of God, which God did not intend that. He wants us to have reverence for him, which is like, I looked up the definition, and reverence is like a profound respect and love, and that's exactly what he wants us to have for him. When you have a reverent attitude toward God, you honor him, express your gratitude to him, and obey his commandments. You should be reverent in your behavior as well as your attitude. So I just wanted to share that with you real quick. And if you're struggling, to get, close to God, or if you're struggling to pray, or you're afraid that he might be like mad at you, or you're viewing God as somebody who just punishes and corrects, then ask him, like, Lord, I need to have the right kind of fear. I need to have reverence for you. I need to have respect and love for you. Because, and if we have reverence for God in that way, like, we're going to be able to recognize him and see him as our Father, right? So that's the type of image that we should have of God. That he is God, but he is also our Father, right? So that's basically everything I wanted to share with you today. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.